going by. Changed a bit. Wow, let's go ahead and have a lunch together.
Yeah, right.
The Prince of Light.
Prince of Darkness.
Landy Hardy and I had known each other for decades, but I hadn't seen him since he also moved to Humboldt County.
And to all my fans in Videoland,
Our nicknames, Prince of Light and Prince of Darkness, was a private joke born of Landy's extraordinary talent as a cinematographer, videographer, and a big plus, the magic he created with light. I was the Prince of Darkness, the commercial producer, writer, director, and often talent on many of what I hoped were upscale, local Sacramento area TV commercials. I'm most proud of those I did with Landy. Now, he claims I put him on the map in '79, and the rest is history. 3 decades later, he's still one of the most respected lighting cameramen around, but more about that later. My wife, Christine, served us lunch upstairs while entertaining a guest downstairs. Landy brought up the subject of our children. Frederica, who lives with us, is 47 and a public guardian for Humboldt County. Curtis, our 45-year-old, is a surgery tech and quite an accomplished drummer back in Sacramento. Here he's shown with wife Stephanie and grandson Dante, also a budding drummer. When he asked what kind of music Kurt played, I replied, the noisy kind. Landy's comeback was, my kind of music. He was being modest. Besides his brilliance as a cinematographer, he also sang and played super guitar.
I'm driving in the slow lane, I'm driving in the rain. The fast life litter lingers, the streets all look the same.
Wife Petra composed the music. He also dabbled in art, and it reflected his love of the Old West. Lunch over, I was anxious to find out what he'd been up to all these years. Okay, Mr. Hardy, let's bring our viewers up to date. Now, Christine and I moved here a little over a decade ago, but when did you move to Leland?
We first came up here at '96 from Sacramento, and we bought 6 acres of vacation land and we built a cabin. Then we always wanted to build a house there, so finally in 2006 we got the permits and we started the building process, got a contractor, and so by 2007 we had a 2-story house on the property, and so then my wife moved up, my kids went to HSU, my daughter did, and so that's basically it. I've got my son, my daughter up here. They live in McKinleyville and Arcata respectively.
And married how long?
My wife Petra and I have been together 32 years now. My son Landy is 25 years old and he'll be having his first child this August, and we'll be grandparents for the first time. My daughter Alexia is 31 now and graduated from HSU, and she is working at Beautiful People in Arcata.
What are you doing these days?
I am playing guitar still. I'm sort of semi-retired. I still go to Sacramento to work, and I'm developing work up here in Eureka and Arcata with some kids from HSU.
Remember the Cafe Capri spot?
Oh, how could I ever forget that? Yes, 1979, you hired me to shoot, and we shot in a little cafe in Carmichael, and it was a really great time, as I recall. We did some food product shots, and we had a woman and a young man there as talent.
We had a little problem, and you came over and whispered in my ear.
Yeah, I remember we had a problem with a lady in the spot. She looked quite a bit older than the young man, and so we just kind of evened them out in the lighting to make them match.
And that's why they call him the Prince of Light. One of the reasons I hired you is because we were dealing with food. I wanted it to look good, and sometimes that's tricky.
Yes, food is one of the more difficult things to shoot. I've worked on it for many years, and it's a trick to learn all the little details.
I think so. And you certainly made it look delicious. Now, my kids were in the Lawrence's department store commercial.
Yes, I shot the Lawrence's department store spot for you in 1979.
Lawrence's needed the Landy Hardy touch. I'd composed the jingle and had my kids record and lip sync it. And this was a night shot with tricky lighting. Despite the poor quality of this video dub, you can see the excellent lighting and the expert use of camera dolly shots. And I'm quite sure that you shot the Dalen's jewelry spot with Peter Lawford, right?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We worked with Peter Lawford, and he was an amazing gentleman, and we really enjoyed working with him.
Beautiful lighting gave a classy gentleman even more class. It's too bad we didn't have a dub of the commercials. In 1977, before he was president, Ronald Reagan spent a half hour answering questions from the budding cinematographer about Hollywood and about cameramen he'd worked with. Down through the years, Landy worked with many celebrities on commercials, programs, films, and promos. Some were a pleasure to work with, some not so pleasant. For the fans, here are his impressions. Lee Van Cleef was a highlight for Landy, a wonderful experience with one of Western movies' icons of all time. For this national commercial, Landy was director of photography for the Dutch company and did all the lighting and camera work. In 1980, he assisted on Stuntman with Peter O'Toole. Landy filmed John Rhys Davis in his Manhunt series. The actor had them laughing through the whole shoot. Michael York looked great in his SS uniform for a TV special. Mel Blanc did his whole interview with his repertoire of voices. Bugs Bunny, Yosemite Sam, Elmer Fudd, amazing. Late for a meeting, J.J. Walker kept grumbling, "My career is going into the toilet." Willie Nelson, easygoing and friendly, just as he was on stage. Tiny Tim, such a sweet guy, and he talked in his falsetto during the whole shoot. Michael Landon was great, nice guy. William Shatner, funny and just a bit nutty. Leonard Nimoy, as serious as his Mr. Spock. Bill Bixby, a very sweet guy. Shot Geraldo in New York, good guy and funny. Shelley Fabre, nice gal and very down to earth. Forrest Tucker did a professional real estate commercial with Landy directing and shooting. Susan Sullivan. Jerry Lee Lewis shot an interview following his show at 3 a.m. in the bar. Leslie Nielsen was his favorite of all time. While doing Channel 40 promos, we laughed ourselves silly. Joan Rivers, a real lady, hung out with the crew telling jokes. Tanya Tucker sang to the crew over two-way radios as she flew home. A real doll. The 70s and 80s were creative years for both of us. Even I directed a few celebrities like Pat and Debbie Boone and of course Peter Lawford. I worked mostly with Sacramento TV stations and didn't have the budget for Landy's expertise. Through the 90s, I created over 1,000 commercials, now 79 and a bit battered and bent. I also appeared in quite a few. Even did one with Landy down by the river. Modestly, I was the voice of the California Lottery, and I'm the dude who never called your numbers throughout the 90s. Well, time had flown, and he had an appointment with his daughter who lived down the street, so it was bye-bye time. Hoping to see him again soon, we bid each other a fond farewell. Well, naturally, the woman has the last word, and basically Christine wanted to invite Landy and wife Petra to a more formal affair with no cameras. She's a French gourmet cook, so I'm sure it'll be a treat for all.
You know, some people get it, yeah, but most people won't. And there are people who want it, but a lot of people don't. No use talking about it, take a stand around it, give me truth. No use talking about it, take a stand around it, give me truth. Tell the truth, just tell the truth.